And you have arrived at part 2 of my personal ghost stories in honor of Halloween. So first we're going to jump into my biggest, best paranormal experience I've ever had. And I never thought I'd be coming out and telling you this story on the internet, but here I am. I feel like I have lots of disclaimers. This story is about using a Ouija board. Especially around here, Ouija boards are extremely taboo because they are of the devil. Alright, I understand that. I understand it was stupid. I was not trying to be a devil worshiper. I don't recommend using a Ouija board. But let's just look at this from a Halloween perspective, alright? I also do want to say that I'm not really sure what I think of Ouija boards. I don't know if it is some sort of a scientific phenomenon. I know all about the ideomotor effect. I know all about the things we could be storing in our subconscious that could be coming out unconsciously through moving the board, blah blah blah. I have heard all the skeptics and I've heard all the hardcore believers. I'm still on the fence. I don't really know, but regardless, I feel like this is a good story. All right, so let's jump in. Okay, so when this happened, it was probably 2008. I was in college and the school was closed because it was a tornado day. And most of the time when we have weather days, nothing actually happens. So school was closed, and some of my sorority sisters had been messing around with a Ouija board pretty regularly. And being the dark soul that I am, having never used a Ouija board, I was pretty curious, pretty interested. So it was on this tornado day. Some of the sorority girls were together and decided that they'd go around campus playing with the Ouija board. And so I was like, yes! Because I was all fearless and indestructible, you know how teenagers are. Actually, I guess I was 20, but whatever. So it was me and 4 other girls. 3 of these girls were in my sorority, and then 1 girl was this extra girl that I had never met before. And the extra girl was the leader, I guess, the initiator of the sessions. So of course, school's closed, it's gray, it's windy, everything looks creepy. I think we started on our sorority hall, which was in the dorms, and nothing was happening. So we packed up and we went somewhere else. We went to a cemetery we have on campus, and we got a little bit of response there, but it was kind of slow. It was just kind of and it was boring, right? So we packed it up and then went to a house. It was the back porch. We went to the back porch of a house on campus, a historical home that's supposed to be super haunted. We got a little bit of conversation, but it wasn't too exciting either. And then we decided to go to our auditorium building, and we went in there because all the buildings were just unlocked, but there's nobody in there. So we went in there, and then we went into this big historical auditorium and went all the way up in front of the stage, and we sat in front of the stage. And the leader girl was like, is there anybody here that wants to speak to us? And the plane chat moved really fast, and it went, yes. And we're like, okay. And then she was like, are you evil? And it said, yes. Maybe that wasn't the best question to ask. And then I think the next question she said was what is your name? And it's spelled L-E-G. And she's like, is that what you wanted to spell? Your name's Leg? And then it kept moving, and it went I-O-N. Okay, and while this was unfolding, I guess it was probably due to the tornado winds, but it seemed like every corner of the building was creaking, and it was kind of extra creepy, and I was looking around oh my god. So when the name finished spelling, L-E-G-I-O-N, our leader was like, heck no, and she threw everything down, and she just got up and ran out of the building. And we were like, what? And we all ran out behind her and going, that was fun. And she was like, do you know what that means? That's Legion, the group of demons from the Bible. My name is Legion, for we are many, or whatever. So we were a little freaked out, but that wasn't enough to stop us. So we went to another old home on campus, which was now being used as the student publications building. And we sat, where did we go? Oh, we got in there because one of my sorority sisters worked in there. So we actually went inside and like sat up on the second floor, I think. And we asked if there was anyone that wanted to speak with us, and they said yes. And then we asked what their name was, and they spelt out, it was like Trisha S or something like that. The sorority sister that worked in that building was like, oh my gosh, I think she means she's Trisha Smith or something. She was the editor of the school newspaper in the 80s, which I don't know how she knew that. But we were like, okay, that's cool. So we like started asking Trisha some questions. You know, she was moving at her own pace. She wasn't like the most powerful or anything. And then she got quiet. She stopped responding, and we were like, hello, hello. And finally the planchette started moving again. It was moving like hard again. And pretty soon we decided it was the same thing we were talking to in the auditorium, because it started spelling devil, and it started saying us, 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 which I kind of took that to mean like us as in we are many, there are many of us, we are the legion, us, us, us. And we got scared again, and we quit playing again. And I think we tried maybe one or two more places to talk to other people, and this thing kept coming through. It's almost like it was just pushing whoever out of the way and coming back through on the board. Alright, so eventually we were all pretty freaked out. I remember even at one point, one of the girls was like, I don't want to do this anymore, and like took her hand off, and the leader was like, you have to put your hand back on, it's not going to work if we aren't all doing it, or something. Like, she was so scared. And anyway, so by the time we finally like packed up the board again, we were all so freaked out that we all decided that we should go to the Catholic Church and get a priest to help us. Alright, that's how ridiculous this was, okay? And it's kind of hard for me to explain how scary it actually was, but this is where I'm kind of torn. Was this real? If somebody was messing with all of us, if one of those girls was moving the planchette, don't you think she would have come clean before we all embarrassed ourselves by going to the Catholic Church in the deep South? Probably, but there is another thing that I've thought of since then, especially like within my subconscious, like the things that I consume a lot of heavy metal, which has a lot of those themes. And then one of my favorite movies in college was called Five Girls, and the antagonist in the movie was a demon who they referred to as Legion. Is that a coincidence? Did I spell out Legion because I had that in me from that movie? I don't know. But we all went to the Catholic Church, and the girl that was staying in there was like, the priest isn't here, but I'll call him. So she called him in, and he was old. And he was like, well, you shouldn't be messing with that kind of thing. It's very dangerous. I don't know too much about demons, but I will give you some holy water, and I'll say bless. So he did that. He gave us all some holy water and blessed us, and we left. Okay, and I feel like I should also say we did not use this board properly. We did not protect ourselves. We did not like open. We probably didn't open correctly, and I know we didn't close correctly. Girl, we never said goodbye, which apparently is a bad thing. So I never said goodbye, and I feel like if I ever use that again, it's like boom, it's coming right back. You know what I'm saying? So I'm never gonna play the Ouija board again. Maybe it is all fake. Maybe that was just me, and I didn't even know it was me. I don't know. But I was freaked out for like 3 days, like crying. Literally. I put holy water all over my room, and I was like shaken up for 3 days. What? That is so weird, isn't it? So I am thankful to say that I haven't had any other encounters with that thing, whether it was me, someone else, or a real thing. But I'm still never playing with a Ouija board again. I would not personally recommend it. If you do decide you want to do it, just do a whole bunch of research beforehand. Don't just like jump in with a group of friends. As much as I am kind of freaked out by them, like I'm never going to use one again, I sure do love hearing other people's stories, but don't go do it just to give me a good story, okay? It's your own personal decision. It's also your own decision as to whether you believe that they're a real thing or not. It's up to you. And that's one of the great mysteries of life and this paranormal realm, is that there's really no way to prove or disprove it. It's just open-ended forever. It's like an unsolvable mystery. But who knows? Maybe one day we will get to the point where we understand what's beyond this material world around us. Okay, that wraps up my first story of this part 2, but there is more. You are in luck. There is more. So this next story, I'm like a little bit freaked out telling it. Okay, this next story happened to a friend of mine. We'll just refer to him as a he, all right? So he was visiting his parents. You know, he's a grown-up, and he was visiting his parents for the weekend. And this just happened a few weeks ago now. And it was nighttime, like everyone was in the living room, getting ready to go to bed, and, you know, winding down. And my friend was just gonna sleep on the recliner there in the living room. So the parents were like, good night, goodbye, we're going to bed. And they went in their room, and my friend stayed on the recliner and was just watching TV a bit, and all the lights were off, but he had the TV on. He was just hanging out, waiting to get sleepy, right? And about 10 minutes had passed, and this is an open concept house, all right? So the living room and kitchen are kind of like all open, and then the dining room is closed off like this, okay? So the recliner is here, and then this is the kitchen, right? So my friend's here in the recliner, and he hears some barefoot footsteps coming in the kitchen. And so he thinks his mom or dad has just gone up to get some water, and he's like, hey, and nobody answers. So he turns around and he sees an all black figure, which is commonly referred to as a shadow person, walking like in the kitchen around the island. And you know how houses are, you can still see, even though the lights are off at night, you can still see what's going on. So my friend could see this thing walk like in front of the stove and microwave, and you know, you couldn't see the lights on the stove or microwave when the thing walked in front of it, so it was like solid, and it was looking at him the whole time it walked by. And then it went and stopped in the corner of the kitchen and stood there and looked at him. So my friend like turned the lamp on real quick, and it was gone. So he was like, okay, I'm just gonna turn the TV back on. Yeah, the TV was off at this point. I don't know if I told you that, but like right when he turned the TV off to go to bed, that's when he started to hear the footsteps. So he's like, okay, I'm gonna turn the TV back on and just like watch TV for a while. And he did. And then I guess like a minute later, so we're back. This is a recliner, and then the dining room is blocked off like this, remember? He could see the thing walk from the dining room, and there's a doorway here that goes into the bedrooms, and just like walked like that without looking at him this time, but just like walked past. And of course he stayed up for a long time watching TV after that, but he didn't like get up. What do you do? That's another example of kind of like a strange response to something that's happening to you at night, where it seems maybe the logical thing would be to go wake up your parents or go into that bedroom and turn all the lights on and see if anyone's in there. But I think he knew that it wasn't a person and that it would be gone if he went in there. But that was like really freaky. Okay, so of course, gotta debunk what you can, right? So the next day he asked his parents, like, did either of you guys get up and like get some water and like go into the computer room? And they were like, no. And then my friend kind of explained what he saw, and they're like, oh, well, I probably got up and went in the computer room in the night. I probably just don't remember. I mean, they're not that old, they're like 50, so I think it's a little early for them to not be remembering that, but that's just me. So my friend's mom was like, let me just check the computer history and see if I did get on the computer in the middle of the night the other night. You know, she's trying to find an explanation too. Yeah, she didn't get on the computer. So that is the final story, it does freak me out a little bit, you know. I thought that was an awesome story. I'm glad it didn't happen to me. I've never seen a shadow person, knock on wood. But if you have, I'd love to hear about it. I hope you're okay, but I'd love to hear about it. Or any other scary stories you have. And if you have played with the Ouija board, please tell me what happened. Maybe I'll make more videos on ghost stories if I collect any good ones from people I know and if this actually like turned out okay. I don't know if I'm a good storyteller, but let's hope that no more ghost stories happen to me so I don't have to share any of my own. Happy Halloween, everybody! I hope you enjoy this October season. I'm going to be. I don't know what all videos I'm going to be making, but probably like a couple of cool makeup videos, and I will be going to some fun activities, which I will share with you guys via YouTube. Alright, everyone. Happy Halloween. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.